Hello friends, this is GL1 and this is the Dinosaur Planet Director's Commentary. And I just thought this might be a really good way to explain a lot of things that went on in making this movie. And first of all, as you can see here, I have a background, space background that I was using in episodes 93 and 94. And I thought it was really important for those that maybe haven't seen any of the other movies and are then just starting with this to read what's been going on and kind of bring everybody up to date. And hopefully people will go back and then see things and fill it in. I really love this star background, so I'm going to be using it again in the future. I look for things that have no copyright and, then take video of them and then bring them in. And one of the first things you might notice is that my editing is steadily improved. This beginning here, I wanted to do a different beginning for each section. And, this is, Caribbean Ocean scene, and I was now able to put picture-in-picture over video, and so I took pictures obviously of the action figures. These action figures are very similar to the ones in video 94, where I allude to the Dinosaur Planet, but those are 12-inch action figures. And it just so happens I was lucky when I decided to do this movie that I had near copies of those in the 6-7-inch scale. And there I am, Goofball GL1. And I only have an Australian accent when I'm out in the bush. So whenever that's happening, I'm out and about, that's when I'm going to have an Australian accent. And the vest that you see me wearing, I made that. It is various leathers and faux leathers put together. It is not real alligator or snake. So as you can see here, I referenced Jurassic Jungle Island Adventure, and that movie was shot on the same island as this, and but this is all new video, new cuts, new animals. That first lizard that we saw in the very beginning, that's actually in somebody's yard, and there's more footage of that lizard as well as another in that person's yard. Now, here I have Matchbox and Hot Wheel cars that, I'm sort of likening to the camper van in video 94, and I show a different one every time, or frequently, just to be funny, to see if anybody would pick up on that. That Mr. Spock is a 1991 or 1990 Mr. Spock from a Playmates set. And it had just been storming and raining when I shot this scene. I actually kind of was hoping it was raining when I would shoot this. I thought it'd be great to actually be rained on while I shoot this, but that didn't happen. And, I just had to strike while I can to get out there. I'm talking a lot of pseudoscience and science. I actually did look up that plutonium oxide can be used for fuel, and I looked into some scientific papers on how that's done. So the ongoing joke in this first video, this first part of the movie, is the ridiculous science that's kind of real and a bit involved. And I just thought that actually being having science that's actually a little bit complicated and true is kind of a funny joke to have ongoing, in this first part. There you are. There's a Matchbox camper, and then these scenes here. are actually a place where they were training astronauts in a centrifuge. They were spinning them very fast, and I went to go see this place, and I was able to take pictures of the computers and, the electronics. You could see the moon landing pictures, because that's what they were training for. And I just thought, I saved those pictures, and this would be a great place to put them in, as if this camper van is big enough to hold all this, all these electronics. So that's where that came from. And here we go. You see a lot of wires, a lot of video screens, reel-to-reel tape machine, data tape, I believe. And then that's looking into the centrifuge. That's actually a chair in there. There I am sitting in the chair. And, so yeah, some of these are true facts. And there we go. Now we have a different camper van. That's not Hot Wheels or Matchbox. That's just some Japanese brand of, I can't remember the name of it, but it's pretty cool. It rides real smooth, and it's a highly detailed little model. And there you go. I just wanted to make sure anybody enjoying this, all these science backgrounds, would get another look at it. And there you go. There's a Toyota van, and then switching it there. And you see, this is the van from Video 94. That's the camper van time machine. I recently discovered I can use mouth stickers, and I realized that there's like the same number of characters as in the Brady Bunch. So I did a Brady Bunch scene, with everybody there, and I tried to line them up sort of like, the dad and the mom, and Spock would be the dad, and then Marcia would be the Invisible Woman, and then Batman would be Greg, and so forth. Chewbacca being Bobby, and Claudine being Cindy. So this is someone's yard. This is actually the same yard as that first iguana that's running up the tree. This is not that iguana. But they're near each other, and it's just there looking at us. Unfortunately, when you expand the video, the resolution goes down, but it's just so cool. Now, yeah, this is a few feet away, maybe about 20 feet away, and there was another iguana. These are pretty big. These are, maybe 4 or 5 feet long. Not as big as some of the ones we're going to see later in the video, but, real curious, looking at us and then coming towards us. And I thought what was great is he actually, started running, and then he went right up the tree like it's nothing. So that's great, because there's a lot of cats and things. So you see, I learned how to do a little bit of superimposing, but I have software now where I can take all of the image and no background, and then really put it in it now. But I didn't have that ability before, so sometimes the background's a little incongruent. So yeah, I took jungle pictures. I took scenes, that were cool, and then I started setting up my dinosaurs. This is one of the newer Jurassic Park dinosaurs, and this one, there's two ways that the dinosaurs, you can identify them. There's a software that you can download for your phone, and it has a identifier. You can put it on a scan, and you can scan a little code on either the foot, on the bottom of the foot of the toy, or now on the new ones, they have a little tab that you use your thumb and you pull up in the middle of its back. The ones that with the tab, they are better. It scans it much quicker and more reliable. The one on the foot is small, and sometimes it's really hard to get it to scan. Plus, it might get dirty, right? It's on the bottom of the foot. So there we have, the Invisible Woman action figure, and that figure is a great figure for its articulation. And in fact, all of the action figures that are part of the Rescue Bunch have really good articulation. And why that is a great thing is that I'm able to actually put them in a lot of poses where they'll stay up and they can even hold on to things or support themselves. If they were less articulated, I wouldn't be able to do some of the things where when they're climbing rocks, they can, actually use their fingers to hold on to the rock, or as we'll see later, there's a scene where Darth Vader is actually standing up by himself, and it's windy and it's blowing his cape and he stays there. So yeah, Alioramus action figure, that's a Tyrannosaurid, an earlier Tyrannosaurus ancestor. And, that's kind of a cool dinosaur as well. It's got a big head, and it goes up and down. It doesn't turn left or right. So, yeah, here's another jungle scene. Sometimes I would take the jungle scenes, I would shoot video, and then I would cut out a picture from the jungle scene and use it if I knew I was going to, have it in some way. Maybe I was going to use it for superimposing, or I wanted to do a still, like with this dinosaur here. This is a newer one which has, the Rugops primus. Thought he looks like a little T-Rex, and I think he's cute. He's got the tab that you pull up on the back, and if you see on his back leg, you can see they hinted that he has maybe feathers. What's really, really great and educational about the Jurassic Park dinosaur toys is that they really are all different. They really go out of their way to make a different body, different feet, different hands. They may not be 100% accurate. The thing is, the scientists speculate on different sizes and different features, and sometimes they just find a single bone. So it really is up to an artist sort of to render what they think that dinosaur might look like, and it might be as accurate as what the scientists may think. So this is a Shringosaurus, which is not a dinosaur. Actually, it's just a really old reptile, and I thought he's really neat, right? He looks like a bull. And there's, of course, the Invisible Woman, thinking she's invisible, and she is not. And then she's charged by this reptile, right? See how it's great how she can, really look like she's running. And Batman, again, now this is an older Batman. I've had this for probably 10, 15 years, but really well articulated. And then he can really grab onto the horns, and, that can look realistic as well. So it's not one of the McFarlane Batmans. It's more like a DC Direct. And there we have a Black Series Darth Vader, but not the new Darth Vader. It's like 3 years old, but still Black Series. And then, that is an AEW wrestler, Velvet Sky. There is no 6-inch scale Monster High Claudine Wolf, which you'll see, that's one of the Rescue Bunch in video 94. But, I just thought to myself, what can I use? And I thought, Velvet Sky kind of looks like Claudine. I'll use shoe glue, which I use for many things, and just cut little cardboard ears and glue them on. They stayed on, through all the shooting really well. So, yeah, this lizard here, a lot of lizards really will just stay there while you get pretty close to them. And, I think as long as you don't move quickly and look threatening, they're curious about us too. And I was able to get, pretty close to him, not just zooming, but actually probably about 4 feet away. And then, trying to zoom in on him and get a good picture. And then he's going to take off, running real fast. Any second now. There. And there he goes. So, yeah, this bee was right next to my head. I don't worry about bees like that anymore. Bees are not interested. Honeybees, not interested in you. But he was really big, much bigger than the bumblebees where I live. Yeah, there's our mermaid. That's a Motu. That's Mermista from Masters of the Universe Classics that you could order online. And then there's another character from the Motu Classics. That mermaid action figure is the only mermaid that is 6-inch scale that is not Disney. There really is not anything else out there that I could find that's like that. And then that's a Black Series Chewbacca, good articulation. Again, he's a couple years old. I don't buy always the newest ones. I get one that works well. So yeah, so this is a scene from Video 94 when GL1 is tied up. There's the rescue bunch coming in the camper van. And like I said, I just was lucky that I had 6, 7-inch scale versions of all these guys because I hadn't really planned it out that far ahead. And you see, if you see the silver pants, that's a pants character. I got that Barbie signature series, just happened to look like me. So I used that as a GL1, and then I went and I ordered silver pants to do a live version of myself in another video, so I would look like him. And there we are, just a jungle scene, and you see I'm using my superimposing, my new technology. Now, when I ran all these videos together, you can see how there's like bars on the sides and stuff, because when you put videos together, sometimes there's formatting issues when you're mixing pictures with video. And actually, yeah, the Miva lizard, this is not the same scene. This is the one that takes off, I believe, really fast. Yep, there he goes. Yeah, the other one was just a slow walk. Yeah, and this is these termite mounds. They're all over. They're huge. Now, I shot this in the same island that I shot Jurassic Jungle Island Adventure, and that movie, there were a lot more termite mounds around, but a hurricane came through and took out at least half of the ones that I could find, so there weren't as many. And yeah, there's the termites. They build those termite mounds, and they have these paths that they build. And you see, I put my finger on it and I pushed in, and then all the termites came out. I would never have done this except that the nature reserve person was explaining that she's like, go ahead and do it. They'll fix that in 3 hours. So, I made sure I said that in the video, and it's true. Otherwise, I would not willingly want to disturb them. But it is cool. They come out immediately, and they are ready to defend it and fix it. So yeah, I have this new thing where I can open the screen up like that. I think that's cool. And here I just wanted to do even more superimposing, kind of experimenting around. And all my videos, I do something different where I experiment with a new feature, a new ability that I can do. And, this was, doing a lot with superimposing. But, I can do a better job in the future because, you see, I couldn't get rid of that. I could mask some of the background on each one of these little cutouts, but not all of it. I tried to get generalistic backgrounds that would kind of fit into all the jungle scenes. But, you can tell. So there, now the skirt she's wearing goes to another wrestler. I don't know who she is, but it's a total nonstop action wrestler from probably 15 years ago. Yeah, here's another beach scene, and it's just a gorgeous beach there and a mountain over there. And this is, where I shot that scene. Now, what you're going to see here is a tragedy, a real tragedy. I was lazy. I didn't feel like driving somewhere else to shoot a water scene with Mermista and Tanystropheus. I thought I could do it right by the ocean, shoot it, and everything would be all right. But the water came in and took Mermista away. And I really did lose my action figure. I returned there for a couple of days, just in case it washed up, because a lot of stuff does, but no luck there. So really sad. I actually shot this in the previous, while I was shooting part 2. but I really didn't have. I really needed to recover. I felt really bad about my what I had, carelessly done. And so I went back the next day and, felt, okay, I'll shoot the third movie. And so that's how this made it into the third movie. And yeah, it was pretty hard. Pretty harsh. But I will be getting another similar figure. So more jungle, very dense. There are, even more dense areas than this, but I thought this was just really great to look at. You can, there's places with gigantic bamboo too. So there's this slider turtle down there, just sunning himself, and he stayed there quite a while because I kept walking and came back, and he was still there, like 20 minutes later. So what are you gonna do, right? Just sit on a log and get warmed up. So yeah, so here's a really dark green, pretty iguana that's gonna just run real quick. I learned that you just kind of have to watch. You have to walk with your phone on, just ready to shoot. Oh, that's right. Oh, this is not that scene. This is the green heron, which I did not see any of those 6 months previously when I shot Jurassic Jungle Island Adventure. So, I don't know if they go to different places during different times of the year. But yeah, this green heron was here now, and they eat fish.
Or maybe he's a vegetarian.
And then that's going to take off soon. I kind of turned my back,
This
and
jungle is so dense. It's denser than Jurassic Jungle.
yeah, I'm not sure if this is the scene where the green iguana
You can't make it very
ran.
far here. This jungle will just swallow you right up, along with the dinosaurs.
There he goes. Yeah. So yeah, I was lucky to shoot that. So it was so fast, So I figured out, I can do this in slow motion and show you all. So that was something I'd never done before in a video either. So I'm really trying to bring about a better quality of story and video to everything I'm doing, and really taking the time to think things through. This was a tree that had tipped over, possibly in a hurricane, and I just thought it made a really excellent mountainous scene. And there's Robert Muldoon, a Jurassic Park action figure that I'm using for me. It was really hard to keep that skirt on Claudine, so I just gave up. And then, yeah, this beautiful ceiba tree. It's a pretty big one, but there are much bigger ones, actually. And yeah, there was a little plaque that had said something to this effect, so I thought I'd include that. And you see these well, you can see an old lizard, but you see the little spiky things on the tree? One of those got in my shoe, and that hurt. Oh, when I was shooting that scene with that bull-looking reptile, when Batman was grabbing it, I got bit by fire ants while I was shooting that. And I mentioned I got bit by fire ants. And I'll tell you, this is over a week later, and it still itches a little bit. My arm swelled up quite a bit, and I definitely do not recommend getting bit by fire ants. I always wondered if it would be that bad, and yeah, it's pretty bad. It itched worse than mosquitoes and really swelled up. I got bit by 4 or 5 of those ants, and they can repeatedly sting you. And I must have got quite a bit of venom in me. And you can get, some people get really bad anaphylactic reactions and have to go to the hospital. That's, the Herrerasaurus. One of the earlier Jurassic Park small dinosaur toys, so it's on his foot, the code to look him up. The thing about the software too is if you put it on a phone, an older phone from maybe a couple of years ago, we put on an older phone, it updated to where the software won't pick up the newer dinosaurs that came out like a week or two ago. So I had to put it on a newer phone, and then I could get some of the newer dinosaurs. So here I go again, right, with the camper scene, and I really wanted to show, this is a nature documentary, and I wanted to have some of the silliness and just really show bam, bam, bam. That scene there where I'm kicking, that comes from Star Trek 3, where Captain Kirk is kicking, I think it's the Klingon Krug. Anyway, kicking him down the hill saying, "I have had enough of you," and kicking him off the cliff. And that's where that reference came from. And there's our Rugops dinosaur there.
Hello, friends. We're reaching the last leg of our journey.
And I'm almost always completely alone with this stuff. No one's holding the camera for me, so I had to prop this up between a tree. Sometimes I get someone to hold the camera for me, but most of the time, nope. So, I'm trying to do everything and not bother anybody. So it was a nice windy morning. This is actually, the last scene I'm shooting for the show, and I could shoot things and then put them in different order. But I have things planned out. Sometimes I write notes and I have an outline, and sometimes things just serendipitously fall together in a way that really enhances the story. Coming up with this, I knew I wanted to delve into the into the Dino Planet idea more deeply, and I will. The other places that the Rescue Bunch visited, I will do movies on those. And I just was waiting for the right inspiration to find a place where I could do a good job and shoot it. And this turned out to be another just great place where I could make a movie. And I debated whether to include this because it's got cement in the background, and it's the only place that's has structures where I'm showing wildlife on a dinosaur planet. But it just was such a cool scene with the lizard. I'm not sure if that's the same green lizard we saw earlier on the branch. It is near that area, so it could be. But I just thought highlighting how well he camouflages in with the leaves is just something, really neat. So. And I just wanted to take my time, like any nature documentary. I wanted to take my time and show you these scenes, even if they were a little bit long, because in nature you have to watch to see something happen. And, I didn't want to edit things to a point to where you don't really get to see the full scope of these animals doing their thing. That's a really big, these are really big iguanas. They're about 6 feet long. They're probably as thick as a cat. They're big bodied. And then they have, the long 3.5 foot long tail.
Take a look at these.
This one's a little bit hard to see, but that's another big one. You can see his arm hanging off. Spines on his back.
You don't really have to worry about anybody.
And just really having the wildlife and the lizards and everything, integrated in with dinosaurs is just, to me, a really neat idea, to give people kind of, I'm talking about toys, but also, I want to show people wildlife. I care about wildlife, and I think it's, fascinating, and I'm trying to do a show that's, a little different than anybody else. I really don't know what other people are doing. I don't want to know and be influenced. All right, so this crab here, I tried to get motion of several crabs, and like I said, I couldn't find it. I looked for an hour to try to find the exact name of these crabs and couldn't find it, so I figured, well, I'll name it. But they either moved really fast and you couldn't get any video, or like this guy's just kind of standing there not doing a whole lot, and then he starts to move. But he's got a really great stance and a really neat way, like a spider. Crabs are sea spiders. And just watching him move like that, just I think really fascinating.
This
And then, yeah, here's another one of those, what I call the scrappy crab, because again, another crab I couldn't find anywhere. Someone put one on Facebook, but they didn't have a name for it, because I guess they couldn't find it either. And I thought, you know, better not to say anything than put the wrong thing. So I'll just name it myself. And yeah, and then these little crustaceans here, the chitons, I'd only seen those in books, so it's really neat to see things that are, you know, suddenly, wow, look at that, there it is, you know, right in front of me. And they're real hardy. They'll even eat barnacles, some species of those. I guess they dissolve it. And you can see that with this scene here, my mouth doesn't match up with me talking, and I thought that was funny, so I did that. You know, like an old kung fu movie. So I had just walked out of the hotel room. It was like a little house we were staying in, and I heard this sound, and I'm like, what kind of bird is that? You know, I just hadn't heard a wild parakeet before. And then I looked up, and it's bigger than the parakeets you would see in a store. So, but I just was like, wow, that is really neat. So I just took video of him until he flew off, and he just stayed there tweeting and tweeting. And again, this is like a 1 minute, 1 second scene, and you know, I thought, you know, why edit it? Just, you know, people can really hear the song of this bird and see its behavior and how it moves its head. And I thought, you know, for somebody that loves nature, and this would be a cool scene to just see. And you see how blue the sky is. And then, yeah, another beach, beautiful beach.
Everybody took the loss of our mermaid friend hard, but Sparkles took it particularly hard and thought perhaps if she picked this flower,
Getting back to the storyline with the action figures. And there's a lot more action figures and story in this than Jurassic Jungle Adventure, Island Adventure, which is even more kind of a documentary, but there also is a lot of, you know, scenes in tunnels and buildings and things like that. This actually, I shot this back in video part 2. But this was a great place to put it, I thought, and put it later, you know. Now we have a calamity, another problem, and getting Chewbacca to hold that figure up, because his arms don't really bend to a right angle, took a lot of trying to get him to stand up. But yeah, there we have another surprise. That's a little crab cave, actually. Fortunately, no crab came out.
It was a big fella, a 20-foot long, 2,000 pound.
Yeah, Ganiodectes coming out there. And one of the larger, small Jurassic dinosaur toys. And then I had the Monolophosauruses. I have 2 of them. They're a little different from each other. They're both Jurassic Park or World Toys will come out with a different version. They did this with Allosaurus as well. Not just different paint colors, but actually different a different mold. You know, whether it be different scales and spikes and things. So it's not just you know, the same body in a different position. They actually will change the mass of a leg or arms. So they really go out of their way to say, hey, well, maybe it looked like this, maybe it looked like that. So I think, you know, again, the Jurassic World, Jurassic Park toys can be pretty good educational tools, even if they're not always perfect to scale. But I think they do a good job, and they're definitely not far off, as we saw where I was doing the volume experiments with the
invisible woman
you know,
fell hard
large
down the
sauropods
ravine.
versus an elephant, and
GL1
found out that
saved her
it is
from
pretty
falling
accurate.
further.
This little spot in the middle of the screen, that's the, I didn't know how to move
She's
that
very
off.
tough and
That
won't
is
fight
the
back
audio
at
of the ocean that I had to add to this scene. What I would do is I would use a picture-in-picture to pull in the ocean scene, and then I would shrink it with my fingers. And I didn't know I could move it off the screen at that point, but I had shot the whole scene and processed it and edited it, and I was just like, you know, it's not that distracting. So, but later I'd figured out I could just kind of push it off the screen after and get the sound, and you know, you wouldn't see that artifact there. This is like some kind of coral. It's really slippery. The little rocks will crumble away from your hand, and you're going to see scenes where I'm climbing it's pretty slippery. I could have gotten hurt. So yeah, Darth Vader is just balancing there, and it's blowing. So here I am climbing, and it's rough and a bit slippery, and it can break away, and it did some. And but you know, anything for the scene. You know, I just wanted to shoot the scene, and yeah, there he goes. You know, and not scratch up that vest that I made. That was important to me. So, yeah, setting these guys up here for this scene. I like this scene because it's really starting to show that Darth Vader is a little bit put out with this whole, you know, rescue bunch. Why did he even get himself into this? You know, his powers aren't like working as expected. That's why he's like, no, I'm not going to help everybody, you know. And he's just kind of put out. He's just, you know, asking himself, God, why did I do this? This scene here, I was shooting the cave, and one of those scrappy crabs jumped and scared my wife, and she screamed. And so that scream, I managed to cut just a little bit of it and keep it in the movie. I put it in the movie. So, yeah, so there we are. He's gonna grab that Pyroraptor, and you know, I try to be funny, like he found a, you know, quick way of getting him down the hill, which, you know, of course means he threw him down there. But I like to show that everybody's always okay. So he's on his feet, and he's just, you know, he's gonna go off.
Patience and optimism getting thin. GL1 called Mr. Spock.
And there I am holding just a different cell phone in this scene. I needed to have something that looked like a communicator while I'm talking to Mr. Spock, who's supposed to be processing the CO2 into plutonium oxide for fuel.
Meanwhile,
and here I go again, showing different vans. And then, you know, I thought this was, I just figured out how to do this, like, you know, do the whole scene as kind of one scene and bring it all together with Mr. Spock in there, and then do another scene with him superimposed. That was even more sophisticated than I had done the last time, and I thought it really worked out well. So, you know, I liked shooting this scene. Thought it was funny. And here I am, I'm climbing a different part over here. It's not the same. I actually climbed 3 different parts. One of them I didn't put in. And this Morris Intrepidus scene, now I'm going to be kicking at him, and you see how it's kind of rolling away? That was an accident, but I just thought it looked great. I had to drop him 3 or 4 times, and he just happened to fall that one time where he's upright, and I just thought that was a great scene. I shot that scene where he fell later. I was walking across the field with him. I'm like, oh, I forgot to shoot that. I need to go shoot that scene. So I had to walk, you know, across this field to go throw him down the mountain to do the scene. And I always watch where I'm walking in case I step. I don't want to step on an animal. And I saw this tarantula that I almost stepped on. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I have the toy with me. I don't want to molest the tarantula too much. You know, I don't want to, you know, really disturb him or, you know, hurt it in any way, like stress him out. But I thought, well, I'll just do a little bit of a scene with him. You know, I thought this is just a great opportunity to shoot this scene for the movie and show a wild tarantula. It's a male tarantula. The females are larger. They have a larger abdomen on the back. And see, the spiders are just thorax and abdomen. A head is attached to the thorax. So they're 2 parts, not like an insect, which is 3. So, see, I got that dog yelping sound. Now, you'll see that there's a copyright claim on this. I really go out of my way to go and search sounds and videos and things that say they have no copyright, and then I go and I put the video together, and then it says there's a copyright claim on YouTube. It doesn't tell me what is the problem, which one is the copyright issue, but I can tell you that I do my due diligence to find sounds that say there's no copyright, and then I put the video together. And now, when I put it together, I used to worry about it. Now I don't. I'm not doing this for the money anyway, so I'm like, that sound works. It said there was no copyright. I'm just going to keep it. And yeah, here we go. So, again, one of the last scenes I shot, and it just all came together really well. I thought the whole story coming together, and then I thought, well, if I'm going to shoot the rescue bunch, I want to make them look kind of to scale as best I can with the camper van time machines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the camera from the phone. Here I'm going to show all 3 different campers, again, just being funny, to see if anybody would notice. And so I'm going to hold the camera real close to the camper van and shoot it onto, with the action figures in the background, so they look like, kind of to scale. They're just in the background. You see, there we are. So they look smaller. It looks bigger. And yeah, I captured. Now this is obviously I just captured a video scene of a rocket going up. So, and there we are again with the camper van from video 94, and pulling it all together. And I just really love the the space scenes. So I think it just lends sort of a nice feeling and kind of a romanticism to space, and just bringing it all back together there. And then I'm going to transition this scene again to the kind of the purple nebula with the stars in the background.
So we're just going to let Mr. Spock take a
The camper van's really cool. It lights up. It has an FM radio on it, and you can change the stations.
I can only guess.
And there we go, my favorite nebula star scene. It's pretty 3D looking. And, just tell you that, there's more coming. And there's a lot more on the way. I have a lot of ideas. And there's that lizard again. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this director's commentary.
I didn't give a big enough donation to fucking yeshiva in Israel. I once said that his wife made the best kosher steak that I'd ever had. How about that? I complimented his wife. I get that he was hurting. His whole life was